Hey everybody, welcome back to Betty and Leon. Today's episode we're going to be putting some wheel bearings in old Betty. She fried one from going too fast obviously. And also at the end of this week we're heading off to a meet called Triple T Day, hosted by the HRCC, Historic Racing Car Club of Queensland, where we're going to take Leon on his first blast around Morgan Park. Let's do it. NASCAR version 2. Boom. I reckon that was quicker than 11 seconds. Just saying. Yeah. Any NASCAR teams out there, I could be for hire. I could be like your slow gun man if you needed a slow gun man. Alrighty, dudes and dudettes. So, I'm going to show you how to do a set of wheel bearings. First off comes the bearing cap. Everybody's got them on their car, generally speaking, unless it's a sealed bearing. We're going to be swapping them later to some shiny ones from Uncle Phil's. Okay, so first off, I'm going to blast the nut off. So just stand a little nut. Wheel spacers have also got to come off. We run wheel spacers just because we need to clear the rims with the caliper, so we don't scrape the front of that. So we just run like I think it's about 10 mil deal here. We need to remove the caliper. So on these guys, there's just 2 Allen key bolts that we use that are on the back side in there. Nothing special. So I will quickly wind them out. This bolt at the back is coming off. What I don't want to do is let the caliper hang by the brake line. So I'm just going to sit it on this and make sure that brake line's not really stressed. Generally speaking, you can cable tie it if you want to. Anything that just stops that pressure on the brake line. So now we've got the brake caliper off, we're just going to sling this off. So you've got a washer, the inner bearing, and then everything else just slides off. So once you've got this all off, it's time to clean. Now bearings like to be clean, and when you re-grease them, you don't want any foreign particles in there. So I just use a bit of kerosene in a bucket. If you've got a parts washer, you're working in 20-30. The rest of us just have a bucket with kerosene. So we're trying to clean them up as much as possible. A little nylon brush, cheapy because it's going to get flogged in the kerosene. And you just want to clean them, get all the grease and muck off them. I'm going to blow them out with an air compressor in a minute. And we're doing this so that we can have a look at the rollers on the bearing to make sure that none of them are trashed. Now I have a feeling that one of these is going to be pretty trashed because it wasn't making a great noise last time we were out. So I'll go and air these off and I'll come back and we'll have a little look, see what we got on the bearings. Let's go for a little bit of a walk, see what Roberto's up to. Da, 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 da. Where is he got? There he is! Hey man, what are you doing?
Trying to stop the leaky tap in our new brake cleaner container.
Dang, that sucks. I like it when new things leak.
Yeah.
Look how happy his face is. He's like, yes, that's just what I wanted.
Yeah, and I'm not going to fix it dodgy style either.
Not bodgy style?
Not bodgy and not dodgy.
So I'm back from using the air compressor to clean these up. and I've just inspected the rear bearing, and it actually looks alright. All the rollers are pretty good. There's no galling or pitting or anything in the rollers, so the rear bearing is good. Can't be said the same for the what I would term the outside bearing. If we can somehow zoom in on things, you might be able to see that, but you can kind of see the chunks in the light without it being very focused. There you go. So this roller started to break up, then all the ones next to it starting to break up, and then yeah, you're basically headed for failure with that dude, so I'm going to swap that one out. You also want to check out the bearing races as well. So when you're inspecting the bearings, you know, obviously you have a bo peep at these two. You want to make sure not pitted, and you know, no scrapes, no damage, and inspect them pretty good. So you've got two races, one on the inside, one on the outside. Timken, the great old USA. That was a terrible accent, but anyway, so we're going to grease them up, doing the old school method, you know, put some in your palm, going to rub it through, work it into all the rollers. You want to get really good coverage. You want to squeeze that bearing grease inside. Some race teams actually use a like a tool that they kind of place the bearing into, and then they have a pneumatic gun that they press, and it pushes all the grease up through this bottom sort of ring here, and it pushes out the front, and it lubes in around the back of the rollers. We're not that sort of race team. We're not in NASCAR. So we do the old school method of using your fingers and lubing it up. So the inner bearing and outer bearing, same deal. You know, you're just greasing a bearing. Nothing really special for those who are mechanically minded and been here before. So the next piece in the puzzle is we put the rear bearing in the back of the hub, and then we've got this, basically it's a grease seal, and there's another piece, another spacer that sits in and rubs basically on the seal and stops the grease from coming out. So quite easy to put it in. I usually just get my soft hammer and give it a little bit of a tap. You're trying not to bend it. I'm doing a pretty bad job as I not concentrating, but it's just got to slip in. Yeah, I'm doing a terrible job at this while I'm trying to talk and concentrate. So there we go. Let's work it around the outside and don't damage the seal. So that's the rear part of the hub assembly done. Now the front's a bit easier. It doesn't run a seal in the front, so we just need to lube up the bearing, put the stub axle stiffener in, and then throw that hub back on. Just want to slide him on, and then you feel that, how it just moved that extra couple of centimeters. That was it, just seating that seal on that bush that's at the back of the stub axle. Then throw in stub axle stiffener. Stub axle stiffener's in there to essentially stop the bearings from walking around, because you know, if they're walking around within the races, there's potential for them to cause issue in there. You know, you've got a metal on metal with the grease in there, but anything that's not running true, you know, it can dig in, it can pit things, and then, you know, it's that slow process of it starts pitting something, and then it pits another area, and then it just keeps picking up until you have total bearing failure. So it stiffens the sub-axle, so it stops the sub-axle walking around a bit, but it also stops the bearings walking around too. So it's a bit of a two-piece deal on that one, so it's awesome. So bearing goes in, then there's a little washer there that has a cutout in it, so it can slide down what essentially is kind of like a little keyway there. We then throw on the nut. So this is where you're going to check for preload and do all of those awesome things. I already know, basically, I pretty much know where, you know, the good preload is for this setup. I've had it apart that many times, and I've actually marked it a few times and done things. So, but you want to make sure that, you know, it's not over tight and it spins nicely, but so that you don't have any play, you know, like end play. So you'll see people get wheels and they'll jiggle them like this and they'll jiggle them like that. That's essentially what they're checking, is to see if the bearings are sitting nicely. Then the wheel goes on. It's as easy as that. And when you're doing it at a racetrack without a camera in your hand, you're doing it a lot quicker, because you don't actually get a lot of time between rounds. And then once they're on, we'll grab the torque wrench and give them a little bit of a torque up. Thanks everybody for watching this episode. Coming along for the ride, doing wheel bearings. They're nice and slippery now, so hopefully we get a couple more mile an hour down the straight. Anyway, look who's in here. It's old Leon. Leon's just chilling in the dark, collecting those killer wasps and aligning the horsepowers for Saturday. Like I said before, oh look at this over here, by the way. I'm just gonna segue into little Michelin Man. High five on that one. So Saturday, HRCC Triple T Day. Come on down, come out to Warwick, the sunny town of Warwick, and see us go around in that mad Leon. See if we can crack the sub 27, which ironically is the race number. We're going for a sub 27. Stay cool. See you, legends.